What's up guys, it's me Jeremy. So among all the new assassin updates, we also have of course a bunch of new items as well as a new stat being added into the game. So the new stat is called lethality, and it's the replacement for armor penetration, because armor penetration was generally just a fairly unhealthy stat and generated a lot of problems in terms of itemization and stuff like that. We've also got 5 new items, as you can see in my inventory, so that's going to be pretty cool to take a look at. And so essentially lethality is just a new version of armor penetration that scales based on your target's level. So as a result, it makes it so that it's not so skewed towards the early game, because earlier, armor penetration would be so broken in the early game because champions just have so little armor. But then as the game go on, everyone gets armor per level, and then it becomes kind of like this arms race of your flat armor penetration trying to outscale their armor per level, and it's just a big mess. And overall, it's a new stat that it's a great option versus targets that don't have, I gotta make sure I don't AFK. It's a great stat for targets against armor item, or for targets without armor items. So against like 80 carries and your squishies, essentially just the ones you want to assassinate. So it's a great stat for assassins, but it's a new version that is a lot more healthy for opponents to face, and just something that's going to be a lot more reliable in general. Now, it's probably not as powerful in the early game, not as snowbally, but as a result, in general, it's definitely something that is a good change overall. It's something that I'm very excited for. So as far as changes to existing items, we'll take a look at those first. We've got the Duskblade of Drakthar first. So after being unseen for at least 1 second, your next basic attack will deal 50 plus 200% lethality true damage on hits. So if you have this item, that's going to give you 20 lethality, so that'll deal 90 true damage on hit. And it also has a unique passive of gaining true sight for 8 seconds when spotted by an enemy ward, which is a pretty interesting one. It's something that's going to allow you to clear wards just kind of at random, but it's going to be a pretty interesting way, a nice little tool for assassins to just have that little extra piece of, vision removal and allow them to pull off some ganks more often. So this is going to be probably a really powerful item coming into the new assassin reworks in general. I mean, those passives are just awesome. As well, we've got some changes to Youmuu's, just of course the lethality change. The active didn't really change all that much, mostly just changing to lethality. And as well, we have armor penetration is removed from Maw of Malmortius, so that's a pretty significant change to that one, just as a heads up. And we've also got some changes to the support items. So Aegis no longer has an aura on it, just because the Aegis aura was just something that was ridiculously powerful and was too much to balance for. So Locket's a lot cheaper as a result, stuff like that. Pretty much all the items building out of Aegis are going to be a lot cheaper. And let's jump into the new items. So the new items, we've got Edge of the Night, which is a pretty interesting one, a new assassin item. So 60 attack damage, 35 magic resistance. So it's probably the new alternative for Maw of Malmortius. You get your 20 lethality, you get your 20 movement speed out of combat, and it has an active that allows you to channel to grant a spell shield. And the spell shield lasts for 10 seconds, and the active has a cooldown of 30 seconds. Now, if you take a look at this item when you use it, you can use it while moving, and it just gives you a nice little spell shield, which is pretty awesome to see. A great counter to mages when you're playing as an assassin. And in addition, with the new lethality stat, we also have this other new assassin item, which is the Poacher's Dirk, which is kind of like a weird version of the Serrated Dirk. So the Serrated Dirk, of course, is just as you would expect with the lethality change. Same item though. But the Poacher's Dirk gives you 15 attack damage, 20 movement speed out of combat, and essentially, so after poaching 3 large monsters from the enemy jungle, so if you counter jungle 3 large camps, the item transforms into a Serrated Dirk. So we're going to be taking a look, and I'll start heading over to the enemy jungle now, so you guys can see that in action. We've also got some support item changes as well. 2 new support items that are actually really cool to see. Just as we head into the enemy jungle, we'll proc this Serrated Dirk thing so we can get that upgrade here. Alright, so let's take a look at how the spell shield performs. So we're taking a look here. We use the spell shield, and it just blocks the ability completely, just like you would expect from a regular old spell shield. Pretty straightforward, not too complicated or anything like that. But the key thing that I think is really crazy is the fact that it has a 30-second cooldown. Now that is very interesting. That's something that's going to make this item a powerhouse. Definitely a must-buy versus AP matchups, versus especially burst damage heavy matchups. Let's take a look at the other items as well. We've got two new support items. So the first one here is Redemption, which builds out of Forbidden Idol, Crystalline Bracer, gives you 400 health, some health and mana regen, as well as some cooldown reduction, and it also gives you 10% increased healing and shielding. And it also has an active to target this huge area, and after a couple seconds it calls down this big beam of light that heals allies and also deals damage to opponents for 10% of their maximum health as true damage, and of course some damage to minions as well. But the key thing that makes this item really awesome is that you can use it while you are dead. Yes, you can use this item while you are dead. That is awesome, and it really allows you to make sure that you're always getting a nice use of the active. And if you take a look at the range, look how insane this is. This range is just ridiculous. You know, it's crazy. So we'll use it here on the bottom wave, see how much damage it does to the minions. It's at 250 true damage. So there you go. It's a nice little thing that will help you potentially wave clear. Also heals. All right, let's take a look at using the item while dead. So you can show that off. So there you go. You can use the item while dead. Look at that. Using an item while dead. That's pretty cool. Moving on to the next item, we've got Knight's Vow. So 400 health, 100% base health regen, 20 armor. And so this is kind of like a more sophisticated version of the Keystone Mastery. So you kind of like attach to your partner. So if your partner is nearby, like you designate an allied champion as a partner, and then if they're nearby, you gain armor and movement speed when you're moving towards them. Movement speed when you're moving towards them. You gain the armor regardless. And if your partner is also nearby, you heal for some of the damage they deal, 12%, and you redirect 12% of the damage they take to you. So it's a great tool if you're trying to like support your big carry. And we'll take a look at how this item looks here as we use it on our Shen bot. There you go. Gives you a little nice little crown kind of thing. And our last item to take a look at is, of course, the new pink ward, the new control ward. And of course, so our last item to take a look at is the new control ward, which is the new version of the pink ward, which allows you to reveal and disable nearby enemy wards and traps. It also reveals camouflaged units, but it does not reveal enemies that are invisible. So if I use the ward on Kha'Zix and he uses his ultimate, it will not reveal him. There you go. As you can see, the ward does not actually reveal Kha'Zix's ultimate, which is pretty much the biggest change. You know, it doesn't reveal versions of invisibility, but it does reveal camouflage, so it will reveal Rengar in stealth and Evelynn in stealth, which are the two main champions. And it's a great change. It's going to be pretty good for the game overall. I mean, it's a very, you know, nice direction for things to be taken. Like it's definitely like a very nice change in the right direction in terms of just making the mechanics a lot healthier, making them a lot more fair for both the assassin players and the players playing against the assassins, and in general just a lot easier to balance and tweak and work with and design, and just so much, you know, it's just such a better foundation for all of these things to work with. And that's been such a big problem of assassins throughout the years anyway, is just, you know, the foundation of their overall kits and mechanics have been so flawed from the start that they're kind of just like never really had a chance in the first place. But we've got this new control ward, so that's definitely the new pink ward. Really exciting to take a look at. So back to the Poacher's Dirk. This item, after poaching 3 large monsters from the enemy jungle, it transforms into Serrated Dirk. So you can see how many I have left just on the icon on the screen there. It says 3. And so let's kill some jungle camps here don't really have the most, the highest damage scaling build in Katarina as far as our itemization goes, because we're checking out the new items, but we can still take the jungle camps just fine because it's pretty late into the game. And if you see that now, if this item went on cooldown and is now has a 2 next to it, so you can see there's 2 camps left, and it has a 60-second cooldown, so we'll take those camps in just a moment. Alright, so now this is going to be our second jungle camp that we're taking a look at, showing off the Poacher's Dirk upgrading into the Serrated Dirk. So we'll just take this jungle camp real quick with the new Katarina. There you go. That goes on cooldown, so we got 1 stack left. And then we should be good to go. So it's a really interesting tool that's going to seriously reward you for counter jungling. And it's something that is going to be a very interesting item, an itemization choice that is potentially going to be very useful or just very rewarding for champions that want to counter jungle in general. And it's potentially something that I'm going to try out, see maybe assassin jungles work with, and because it's really cool. I mean, you can honestly probably take it in lane. Like, it's the kind of thing that you can just steal camps, you know, periodically throughout the laning phase, right? If you kind of have like a strategy. So it's a really strategical and just super interesting item. And as you can see, it just upgrades straight up into a Serrated Dirk. So the difference between the two items is, so this one's 1100 gold and the other one is 750. So it's a difference of 350 gold total. So that's the reward that you get for counter jungling 3 camps. So is that, you know, the biggest deal in the world? It's not that much. I mean, 350 gold isn't, you know, game changing, but it is about a kill. You know, it's not bad. It's definitely something that is enough to make an impact at least. So some strategies with Poacher's Dirk are going to be super interesting to see how they play out, and overall the assassin items in general are super awesome, and I'm really glad with how they turned out. And I think there's a lot of really interesting itemization choices and just new directions in general, and I'm really happy with the direction they took the mechanics, and I'm very excited to keep playtesting them and bring you guys some more videos in the future. So definitely stay tuned. We're gonna be making videos about assassins pretty much all week this week. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed the video, hit that like button, subscribe if you want. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.